Hey guys, happy Live at 5. I just wanted to do a little bit of number crunching tonight. Just take a couple minutes to talk about what's happening in the market now compared to last year. I get a lot of questions, especially after the election, of what's going to happen and how's the market going. We have COVID, all that kind of stuff going on. So I just want to take a few minutes and really dive into October 2019. And we're not talking new construction or condos, just basic throughout Clark County. So the Vancouver area, Camas, Ridgefield, everywhere in Clark County. We had 692 homes that sold in October of 2019. And you would think with everything going on that we would not have went up significantly this year with COVID and concerns about this and that and how do we show homes and all the things that are going on in our world this year, right? But we went up to 900 and let me see what the number was, like 932. Where'd it go? We went up 27%. That is a huge increase in the number of homes sold. How many is active doesn't matter how many sold, because that tells you what's really happening. And what it tells you is that people who've been in their homes are saying, you know what, I've been here a while because of COVID, and this maybe is not where I want to be, not where I want to be stuck. I want to move either. A lot of people are moving across country. We see that a lot right now. A lot of people are increasing the size of their living space because it's been difficult living with their whole family in the home for many, many months. But a 27% increase is huge, especially in October when a lot of times when we see we'll see a slowdown as we go into an election year and into the fall. So we kind of expected a little bit more of a slowdown, and instead it has been steady to increase it almost to 1,000 homes that sold just in October alone. Now, what you really got to look at, and how does that affect you when we're looking at number crunching, what is that median price range that's really selling? Well, when you had 2019 again versus 2020, the most popular active range for sold homes is between 300 and 399. Last year, we had 282 homes sell in that price range. And this year, what did we get? We got 312. So we increased about 10%. However, the most interesting one to me and the most concerning for buyers. So buyers, this is where you really need to listen. Anybody who's thinking of buying, this is the piece you want to pay attention to for just a moment, okay? So in 2019, we had 160 homes that sold between 400 and 499. This year, it increased nearly 40%. Nearly 40% increase between 400 and 499. That's kind of frightening for buyers. Great for sellers. Sellers, you should be paying attention to that. This is your time to sell. Buyers, the only reason I would say it's really your time to sell, besides the fact that once things go up, they don't historically drop like they did back in 2010. That's just not what, if you look over a 30-year pattern, we don't see drops like that. We see little drops, but we've made this jump to the 4 to 499, increasing that much. That's probably not going to change. So those numbers are not going to drop a lot. What is probably going to change is going to be the interest rate. And that is what I'm really focused on right now. So when I talk to people and they say, yeah, I want to buy something for 400,000, and that's what price range they feel like that they can qualify for. That feels right to them. What I do is I start backwards, because really most people don't care if it's 400,000 or 4 million. They care, what's my monthly payment going to be? What's this going to feel like every month to live in this home? And if the mortgage cost isn't any different between 400,000 and 4 million, obviously it is. But really, it's not about the price of the home as much as it is, what's my mortgage payment going to be every month, and can I afford that? So I always start there with buyers. And here's the deal, you guys. If you qualify for a payment of, I just put in any number to figure this out. So I said 2.75, because it is, we are having those historical, just crazy low rates. Crazy low. It can't stay that low. It just can't. It's not sustainable. So 2.75, the payment that it gives you at 400,000, okay? I increased that amount by 1%, which is still crazy low. 3.75 is still crazy low. However, you know what it does? it decreases your buying power. It decreases your buying power, raising it that 1% decreases your buying power by about $47,000. So let's talk about the ramifications of what that really means. Okay, so at 400,000, let's just say your monthly payment is $1,650. Doesn't really matter what it is. But the interest rate goes up by 1 point. Still a good purchase price, or still a good interest rate. Your buying power, though, to keep your mortgage rate the same, because that's what you can really afford, right? It's not about 400,000. It's that you said I can afford 1,650, or I can afford 2,000 a month, whatever it is. But the difference is now to keep that same monthly mortgage rate, because unless you got a huge raise or a brand new job, nothing changed between now and next spring. Nothing changed for you that increased your amount so much that you could afford a different price range in your monthly mortgage payment. What did happen is if the interest rate went up 1 point, you just lost $47,000 that you could have used for buying power, because now to keep the same mortgage rate, you're now buying at $353 and not $400. Okay? Huge deal. Not only because you lost that amount, but because of what that amount really means. Right now, anything in 350's range, I pulled up like 340 to 360, 370. All of those homes, not all, but like over 60% of them are selling, I think it was like 65 or something like that, are selling within a week, which means most likely they had multiple offers. Okay? So you've got a lesser home. That's just the truth. 400 versus 350. Your home's just not as nice, but you're paying the same mortgage for the next 30 years. You ended up in a home that's not as nice as it could be today because you waited. The interest rates went up, which they have to. I mean, there's really no room for them to go down, right? So they went up. And now you have got a lesser home, but the exact same mortgage payment for the next 30 years or whenever you sell it. And the likelihood is you had a lot more competition, you guys. Right now, when we look at all of the homes that sold in that price range, and we do list value versus sales value. Now, what you'd expect to see in a balanced market, what you'll see is, let's say list value is 400, and that you pull up everything that sold in that last month, you're going to see something like that the list value, then there was some negotiating, and that the sold value was about 97% of what the list value was. That's where if you're dealing with people who bought back in, the 90s and 2000, they haven't bought since then, they're just shocked that we're not negotiating in the way that we did back then. They're like, what are you talking about? Of course I want $10,000 off. Of course I want them to pay closing costs. Those closing costs belong to you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. They are yours, so don't just assume the seller is going to pay them, because in this market, nope. You can wrap it in, you can do some things, but a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. So hear this part, you guys. This list value versus sales value. Balanced market, it goes down because there's always negotiating. Right now, list value versus sales value in that price range, in the most popular price range, which is where you're going to be if you qualify for 400 today. You wait for it to go up a point. Now you're at 350. You will be, the list value, sales value is over 100%. It was like 101.4 or something like that. Crazy. It's above, as an average, it is still above what it's listed for. So again, sellers, that's awesome. Buyers, you just need to be prepared for that and make sure you have really good strategies. And most important, right now, to me, I'm really watching the interest rates, and I'd encourage you to as well. If you have any questions about interest rates, or if you want to know what would you qualify for, shoot me a message, and I'll get you connected with somebody who's, got more knowledge than me on that end of it. And at least you know, and it's really important that you know what you qualify for and what would you qualify for. Find out what you qualify for today. Find out what you qualify for if it goes up 0.5 point, 1 point, whatever it is, so that you're watching that. If you're thinking, oh, I'm going to buy next June, pay attention, because how much money are you losing, buying power are you losing because you're waiting?